It's the Anfield wrap after the Easter Sunday, the Easter Monday. It's the second attempt at starting this. I'm not going to tell you why I got it wrong last time. In front of me, I've got Charlotte Campbell. Don't get that wrong. Philippa Smallwood.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Nicely done.
Smooth, I felt.
Very smooth.
Ben Johnson. In front of me, the three of them, to talk about Liverpool's fantastic 3 points against West Bromwich Albion. A lot of times during a season, Philippa, 3 points at West Brom wouldn't seem like a big thing. But in the context of everything Liverpool have been through since January, and with their ambitions between now and the end of the season, it's another 2 weekends on the run, really, where it's an enormous 3 points for the Reds.
I always try and judge how important 3 points are by how I feel during the game. And I was saying outside how for the last 15 minutes, I felt as rough as anything. I could have literally seen my stomach contents lying in front of me. I felt that sick. And Neil kept saying to me, "Oh, when this is over," he said, "Will you make me a sandwich?" And I was like, literally, I couldn't look at any food at the moment. I felt that bad. But do you know what? All credit to those players that were out on the pitch, because they didn't look like they were feeling any nerves whatsoever to me. When West Brom were trying everything, and they did try everything in that last 5 or 10 minutes, they just kept heading it away and clearing the lines. And I can't actually remember, apart from the save from Mignolet, them having a decent chance to score. And I think that says a lot about how we defended as well yesterday, which is something that we've not said an awful lot this season.
Charlotte, Liverpool did defend very, very well as well, and I think Philippa's hit the nail on the head in terms of the nervelessness of the performance. I was a bag of nerves that last sort of 10-15 minutes. I was shouting the clock out every minute that passed. I'm boss at knowing what time it is at football matches. It's probably the only thing I'm good at with reference to the game, is literally knowing what time it is. Everything else on there, I just couldn't cope with it at all. It was just hang on for dear life, and Liverpool did.
You know what? I think I was saying this before. I think that's partially just because that's what you're used to. But I didn't feel that nervous in that past 50 minutes. They didn't actually have any chances. One headed goal on target the whole game. I thought, yeah, Philippa's right. They had that one big chance that Mignolet stepped up for. I think there was another one which they should have done better for. But other than that, I thought we handled it all really well. Players were really drilled all week. They kept putting those balls in, and it was just no problem. I didn't feel nervous.
I was a bag of nerves, mate, and I think I thought we were brilliant. By the way, I thought it was one of our best performances of the season, because it's such a difficult place to go and play footy. He makes it so difficult for he's a genius, Pulis. I don't care what anyone says. He's an absolute genius at what he does. He makes everything, every single sinew of the match. It's like he deconstructs it and makes it into a duel between two people, and he's always putting your centre halves on the wrong foot when you got the ball. He's blocking your passing line, so you got nothing going for you. When you get the ball, he's got 2 6'5" fellas tearing at you, pulling your shirt. And if you'd have asked me a couple of weeks ago if I thought that Liverpool team had it in them, I'd have said no chance, because I didn't see us standing up to that. Didn't see us physically being able to stand up to that sort of intensive sort of battle, and I didn't see us having somebody either end to get us out when you needed to. Like, we've talked about this loads of times, haven't we? With no killer instinct, or not enough of a killer instinct in games where it's really tight, and no keeper to pull you out when you need to make a game change and save. And yesterday and last week we had both. We've done really well, and there's no way around that. I thought it was. I mean, heroic sounds like you're going over the top because you've beat West Brom away from home 1-0, but it was, for me, heroic given the context of what they've gone before and the mental scars they must have been wearing as a consequence of that. I thought it was brilliant.
The focus of them, I think, it's interesting. You were less nervous last 15. Maybe you were on to the focus of them. That's what I took from it. Ben's right. There's just duels everywhere. That's what they do. They look to create battles and then they look to win them. And I just thought that every single Liverpool player, right the way across the pitch, even when Coutinho's legs were falling off, for instance, every single Liverpool player ensured that that they weren't going to lose the battle easily, that they were going to make it as hard as possible for West Brom. It's something that we haven't seen a lot of this season, really. Liverpool making it as hard as possible for the opposition. I thought they did to West Brom at times what West Brom want to do to you.
Yeah, it's been aimed at that team so many many times that they're all mentally weak, that they can't stand up to a physical battle. I think Can probably represents it better than anyone over the last few weeks. I was the biggest critic of Can, and I don't like criticising a Liverpool player, but I just didn't want to see him in that 11. But Can, all game yesterday, he was winning every single physical battle, and he does it more obviously than Wijnaldum, but Wijnaldum does the same thing. They just put their body on the line. They out-muscled all of them. There were loads of times where Can got his body in front of the player and battled them out, and that's what we've needed to see from them. And it's probably why over the recent years or whatever that we've been losing games against teams like that, because we haven't stood up to the physical battle. But I thought yesterday it was just that's where we excelled.
There's the theory on this, Philippa, that you play these teams off the park, that you just keep playing your football. And I think Liverpool have tried to do that at times this season, and at times this season they've done it successfully. I think they did it reasonably successfully in the home game against West Brom, for example. The game finishes 2-1, but Liverpool should be out of sight by the time 2-1 comes around. But that was an example of Liverpool just simply going toe-to-toe, was saying the game's going to be played this way. We're not going to try and change the game. We don't feel we've got our best players. We don't feel our best players are on the pitch are in good enough nick. So what we do is we do this to you then. We do it. We play your game, and we're going to play it a little bit better than you, and that's how we're going to win. And I just think that's such a... It's something that we haven't done under this manager, something that we didn't do under the previous manager, something that we didn't really do under the manager before that. You know, it harks back to Houllier, even in a sense, more than Benitez. Benitez had tried to outthink you, whereas Houllier would basically say, we're going to go man for man against you then, and we'll get the first goal, and then we'll go from there. It's not something that you want to see a Liverpool side do every week, but it could be a bit of a Wyoming games like this next season. Yeah,
definitely. And what you're saying there, I've been thinking about this quite a lot, because everybody was saying that, you know, we'd never beaten a Pulis side away from home in the league before. And I was thinking back to like when we had Benitez, and he used to completely change the starting 11 and put in all the tall players to try and counteract the long throws and the set piece issue. And I genuinely felt that kind of played into their hands a little bit, because all you really want to happen is that your best players are willing to stand up to the fight. And that's what happened yesterday. Every single one of those players that was out there on the pitch was saying, right, okay, that's how you want to play it. No problem, I'm up for that. And previously, it's like we've been afraid. And I'm going to bring Mignolet into this, because when we've played this sort of team, and I'm going to go back to like when Reina was the goalkeeper, and I absolutely love Pepe Reina. But in each one of those games, if you watch Pepe Reina, he was a bag of nerves in those games, because he knew that the players wouldn't be able to compete properly, that he was all over the place, really, when you actually watch it. And yesterday, I thought Mignolet, every single time the ball came into an area where he could get it, he went and he punched it clear. And I think that really helped the defence as well. If he doesn't do that, then to me, the defence will be a little bit more nervous, and then West Brom could gain a bit of momentum. So yeah, I think we can single out Mignolet's save, because again, that for me was a massive point in the game, and it's a brilliant save for me. But his all-round game for me yesterday was, I thought, really, really good.
And I didn't watch that and think, by the way, that it was just like a battling performance. There were moments where we battled, and that was throughout the team. But people like Firmino, I thought there were moments of brilliance in that. It wasn't just a game where I look at it.
Firmino was terrific. I mean,
unbelievable.
I only really got on it watching back the highlights, like in the ground, because you're just seeing all this unfold in front of you from an end. But it's an unbelievable performance.
Yeah. I saw a tweet last night. It was like he was a mix of, what was it, Kaut, Muller, and LFC era Suarez sort of thing. Like he was absolutely ridiculous. So I'm not looking at it and thinking, oh, we've been dragged down to their level and we've battled. No, we did that in the moments that it mattered, and then we also put in some good football. I mean, there were the goal that Milner should have scored. That build up by Firmino is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it was great. I think the performance can go. You can sort of put it in sections. I thought the first 15 minutes we were sluggish. Again, we were lucky. They had a couple of chances. We were lucky. We were poor. We gave the ball away, for example, 3 times in the first 3 minutes, just kicking it out off a throw in, back to feet, goes out. Fucking hell, boys, come on. But then we got in the game, and we thought, I thought it was just similar. It was a funny performance, because first 10, 15 minutes, okay, we're in the game. Then we started keeping the ball like we had done against sides where you think something's going to hit us something's going to bite us in the arse. You can see it a mile off. We're keeping the ball, and they're going to break. And then when we needed to battle towards the end of the first half, we battled. And then we got the goal. And we go in 1-0. And then we come out and play really
we were great
good
for
football.
15.
15, 20 minutes, played really good football. They made a change, brought an extra fresh legs, and then they made the second change and changed the shape a little bit. And we had to battle again. And we tired. But I thought it was a really good game of football, and the pleasing thing was that we just done everything we needed to do in a match. We should have scored. Milner should have scored. The Firmino one where Origi scores and Firmino was like millimetres offside. It's so unfortunate. It's almost to the point where the line should have discretion to say, "Oh, that's such a good goal. I'll give you it." It was a lovely ball. So there's loads of really pleasing things, but I mean, go back to the Mignolet point. I mean, I've sat in here with you, Neil, and said I'd never play for Liverpool again, and that was only 8 weeks ago. Hull away, whenever that was. Because I didn't think he had. I didn't think personally, and I still think it's questionable whether he had the character to perform in games when you need him to pull you out to win you the game. I thought my whole thing about him is that he's a reasonably good goalkeeper. I just question whether he was good enough for us in terms of being able to impact on games. Like, what he's good at, saving routine shots and doing what he should do. What he hasn't historically been good at for Liverpool, for me, is pulling you out when you need someone to do it, when you need a top draw save. And you can't say fairer than his. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's played his best football for Liverpool this season by a mile. Yeah. But I still wasn't sure whether he was good enough. But basically since I said he should never play for Liverpool again, he's been fucking brilliant. And his last two games, he's pretty much, they score yesterday. It's you know, whatever it is. But he contributed to really difficult wins in such a way that you'd have to think, well, hang on, maybe he's growing into this role that he needs to carry out, and maybe he deserves time. Is he going to be that good all season on a consistent basis? I don't know.
But which goalkeepers have been?
Exactly, and that's it. You can't sit here and say he doesn't deserve praise, and you can't sit here and say he's shite, because he's clearly not. But what you can say is he's done really well. He's played really well the last 8 weeks, and it's absolutely fine to change your mind.
Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, I kind of remember a couple of seasons ago, and I was sat in the car, and I'd kind of cottoned on to the fact that he didn't command his area, and I looked at him and he's just this massive unit, and you're just thinking, you know, you should be commanding that area, and you should be coming clearing players out and getting the ball and, you know, just bullying players really. And he wasn't doing it. And I remember in this particular game, I can't remember who we were playing now, but I literally battered him. And this old guy sat in front of me, turned around and he went, "What help is that?" And I was like, do you know what? He's got a point. So since then I thought, right, what can I do in order to like try and help? So, and this isn't just with Mignolet, this is with all Liverpool players in general. I try and look for the positive stuff that they do. And I'll be honest, I'm really struggling now to see things that Mignolet's doing wrong. All right, he's kicking. You can probably single out his kicking and still say that can be improved. But I've watched every other goalkeeper come to Anfield this season, and I can't see any goalkeeper that's been, and I think their kicking's better than Mignolet's. You know, Ben Foster yesterday.
I'm going to have to speak for the Sunderland lad, but he's only 5'3".
But then
he can play a ball in.
He can pass a ball.
Yeah. He can pass a ball, but then
he's only 5'3".
His tops are always massive.
Yeah, he looks ridiculous.
It's a grown-up top. It's like, lads, you just get the under 16s ones.
But the thing with Pickford, if we're going to go on about like who could possibly come in and replace Mignolet, you know, if we still decide that, you know, he needs replacing, Pickford, you're taking a chance there.
Oh yeah.
So, like Ben was saying before, you know, maybe Mignolet has just grown into this role, and now he feels a part of it. He feels like he's contributing, and, you know, maybe get somebody else in. Maybe they're not going to do any better. You know, Joe Hart, people keep banging on about him replacing him. It's driving me absolutely up the wall, because, again, I think he's made 8 mistakes this season that have led to goals, and you're not talking about all the other crap things that he's doing.
And it's about what's in front with him as well. He's not had Lovren and Matip play in front of him every week. And the 13 games they've played together, unbeaten. 11 goals conceded, unbeaten. So, a goalkeeper can't just save every single shot that comes to them. They've got to have a front four that are going to play together week in, week out. It's right. I was going to make a point about Joe Hart, but it seems like I'm just going back to it now to try and be funny, so I'm just going to let it lie. Sorry. It's all right. we'll talk about Joe Hart again at some point, won't we?
It'll try and drop it in later on, yeah.
It'll come up. It's about being a baldy. I'm a bit obsessed with it. But I think the point about playing in a defensive unit, right? And I think that's one of the areas we need to somehow find a solution for, and it's not about he's not good enough and he's this or he's that. My issue with centre halves is they've got to pretty much
play every game.
Yeah.
Carragher missed 10 games or whatever in 10 years. Ipia, similar. They don't miss big spells of games, big spells of seasons, and either one of them, Lovren's injured or sick all the while, and Matip's got an issue with his ankle that, for whatever reasons, kept him out for a long time all season, bits and bobs. So we need to find a solution to that, and I don't know what that is, but that, once you've got a better defensive unit, everybody knows each other's game better, everybody's more comfortable. Mignolet now might be in a position where he's winning over a hostile changing room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're playing in front of him. You've got a fella who doesn't shout behind you, or who's sometimes. My thing about Mignolet is I think there's been historically a mentality issue with him, and my issue has been whether he's got the right mentality to be as good as he needs to be. Because he's good. He's got all the attributes. He's good enough. The issue is he might be now in a position where he's pulled us out in 2 games in a spin, and then the centre halves are going to the next game thinking, well, it's all right if we make a mistake. He's gonna get us out. That sort of breeds confidence and trust in each other.
Creates a bond.
It does, yeah, and you need it. And you've got to look. These fellas are human. These are human beings. If you work with someone and they keep cocking up, then it affects you. When you're in work, you think, well, I won't ask him to do that because if I keep asking him to do it, I end up doing it anyway, or there's a negative outcome, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing. And you forget about that sometimes.
He's also had the best of Lucas Leiva in front of him for 2 games in a row now. And that's Mignolet's 2 of his best performances all season when he's had a Lucas in front of him, sweeping up the whole game. I thought Lucas was absolutely great yesterday. Not quite on his Stoke level, but I still thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, I actually asked my husband who he thought was the man of the match yesterday, and he said Lucas. And you can't really argue against it, but I really struggle to think of a man of the match yesterday, and that's not because I didn't think anybody played well. It's because I thought that pretty much everybody contributed to that yesterday. I mean, Klein, I think yesterday on the Pink, you was talking about. He was talking about Klein playing.
Somebody looking in as we're recording. Go on, let's all do our best. He's made up, isn't he?
He's having a ball, isn't he?
Really weird face.
He's made up. Go on.
Has he got his lads up there?
It's ridiculous. He was so made up. Someone was in a studio recording something. Go on.
Yeah, I think you were saying.
Was it?
I think you said yesterday that you thought Klein had a really good game.
Thought he was great.
Not that I didn't think he had a bad, not that I thought he had a bad game, but he didn't really stand out to me. But there was one tackle right at the end of the game, and honest to God, that in itself was as good as anything else that happened in the match. And then Milner did one right over the other side as well. And it was just moments like that, Wijnaldum getting the ball and just keeping it for what felt like about 5 minutes. And you're just thinking, just keep on, and he did it, and you're just like...
Passes when he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, come and try and take it if you want, but I'll just spin round.
He's great.
He's good. You get the feeling you'd love to knock about him, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
seems like a great guy.
Seems like a great fella. Yeah. He looks
very reliable.
He looks $1 million as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That smile.
The smile, so angelic.
Would never let you down.
Never let you down.
Always there, rock solid, late for nothing. Turns up on time. That's what he just comes across so reliable. That's the thing.
Brilliant. The bit when the keeper was trying to claw him, and he was just like, just get off a minute. I mean, it's hilarious. And
the last 5 was insane.
5 minutes, but there's no coincidence, Neil. I mean, say what you want about Moreno, but stuff happens when he's on the pitch, and none of the defensive stuff was any of his fault. It just coincided with him running on the pitch. Their goalie decided to play right wing for a bit. It's like, whoa, this is mad, isn't it? And it was bananas.
I couldn't get over Foster doing 2 minutes at right mid.
The first one you think, all right, sounds, and then we break. The second one when it cuts back and he's like playing right midfield, not even right wing.
No, right
midfield while everybody else is in the box. You're thinking, this is mad.
And even better that after that, Pulis has said he's got no idea what he was doing. He was screaming at him, telling him to get back.
Pulis is a genius. Imagine Pulis. Pulis must have been, he probably battered him.
You see, me and Steve Graves were going, it's genius from Pulis, this. but he probably has. He's put his cap of fighting on into that dressing room, had a shower in his cap.
Fighting cap.
His fighting cap. Battered him whilst naked. Not the first lad he's done that to. It was unreal. I couldn't, the last five, it was the maddest 5 minutes I've seen in ages, Charlotte. It was just ridiculous what was going on there.
It was mad, but on that, Moreno is getting so much shit for that last bit. I'm not giving it. He could have done maybe a bit better, but give him credit. He gets the ball. If you're running at that pace, Sturridge is offside. You got Can. He's not in your eye line. So
I love how offside Sturridge is, by the way. He's furious and offside.
Yeah, he's absolutely wrong and fucking fuming about it. But by the way, there's a sideline here. No fucking way Albion Moreno knows Sturridge is offside. I'm not having it that he's that switched on.
Did you see it when Lovren did? Did you see it when Lovren needs it back to Mignolet and Mignolet picked it up?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That's the rule.
Yeah, that's not a back pass.
It's not a back pass.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The whole ground didn't know that. Everyone was going mental.
Everyone's give up on that bit. It's like, well, it must be his fault because it's by it.
Yeah.
It's not his leg.
I was like, that's amazing. Someone turned around in the ground. I went, oh, fucking hell, we got away with one there. Someone turned around and went, no, the rule is. And I was like, really? These lads are dead clever. They know the rules, these boys. Fair play to them.
Well, I mean, Moreno, I don't think
he should score.
He should score. But it only just goes wide. And, you've got to look at the mentality of the player. He hasn't played for absolutely ages. He hasn't played. Hasn't kicked the ball.
Since January, isn't it?
He should score, but the Milner miss was worse.
Yeah, it was. But if you're Moreno and if you're him, like if that's me, Klopp says to me, for some reason, some mad twist of fate, he lashes me on at left wing, probably to mark Ben Foster. And I'm in that position. There's no way I'm passing. It's like, what, you want me to pass? I haven't played for ages, mate. There's an open goal. Fuck off. It's on my left foot. All right, it's a bit tricky, but I'm just going to leg it. He's offside, even though I don't know it, but something in my gut's telling me he is. Don't even know where Emre Can is. He's just there, he can slot it, but that doesn't matter. I'm putting it in. And I probably would miss. But
if he's scored. My honest sadness on it is...
That's the reason he's getting loads of shit.
Yeah.
It's because everybody would have been made up, not the boss dance.
Yeah, if he'd scored, it reminded me a little bit in a weird way of that one against Arsenal in his first season. My thing about it was the reason why I was annoyed with him, and I was annoyed with him post-match, was just how bananas it would have been. And I think he probably would just have ran straight into the crowd, took all of his clothes off and just gone home and with someone, not even got looked back.
And never played for us again.
Yeah.
Never be seen again. Whatever happened to Albion Moreno? I don't know, mate. He scored, didn't he, at West Brom away?
I think I've seen him knocking around Gattaca. It's all changed for him.
He's living in the Black Forest.
It was, I would have absolutely loved it. That was the thing, and that's why Pete is getting grief, Philippa, I think, is because everyone wanted the moment of, there you go, there's 2-0. I mean, he should score. He should be getting it into the back of the net from there. I actually don't think he should pass either. I think he Sturridge is offside and he can't see where everyone else is, and they're actually doing a good job of jockeying him to ensure that he can't have a look anywhere. He's just got to keep moving forward. Yeah. Maybe he should take another 5-yard stride and go from there. I was actually sort of half willing him just to kick it past him and leg it, and he probably pulls you down and you get him sent. I mean, but all of that, I just think it's that's the frustration with him, is that he just didn't put it in the back of the net.
I always try and think of like what my initial reaction is at the time stuff like this happens, and I was just screaming, hit it. That's what I was like saying at the time. And when you watch it back, and some people are going, you should have passed it to Sturridge. Well, if he was to pass it to Sturridge, you had to do it earlier while Sturridge was still in that half. If he's going to pass it to Emre Can, he's going to have eyes in the back of his head. So he did the right thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe he should have took it on another few yards. But, I mean, I was screaming before he hit,
He's unlucky.
Yeah. It's just one of them. He's just got it a little bit wrong. And, at the end of the day, we won. So it doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things.
Bossed away, they went straight down the other ends, and everyone's thinking, fucking hell, if they score here, Moreno's not getting out of there alive. Probably from his own players. Klopp would have battered him.
Yeah. I like how Klopp after the post-match is giving him the big hug and Albie's a nice boy and blah, blah, blah. Whereas that's what I was thinking as well. If they just scored, he just got on the pitch and knocked 7 stages of shite out of a ball around that ground.
I know, but the better thing for me would have been, like, people are saying, well, you know, it was ridiculous, it was a liability, he took the chance and, you know, we gifted them the ball back and they've gone up the other end and nearly chilled. What did you want us to do? Run to the fucking corner flag when there's an open goal? Imagine that, that'd been amazing. Just like, yeah, let's just about 20 seconds left. I'm just going to stand over here for a bit with it. He would have been dragged into the ends and killed. So, you know, we couldn't really win, but it would have been, I mean, it would have been hilarious. It would have been devastating, but it would have been fucking funny if they'd have scored. It would. You can't say it wouldn't, it would.
It wouldn't have been fun.
It fucking would. It would.
I might be less hungover if that had happened.
And we'd be furious, but we'd be laughing.
Yeah, about the sheer ridiculousness of the situation. There is, Charlotte mentioned before, I'll go to you, Philippa, on it first. Charlotte mentioned Emre Can before. Performances over the last few weeks gets battered everywhere in the Merseyside derby. Arguably, has one of his games against Bournemouth where he's just not quite doing enough in the middle of the park for me. Not quite shifting it with tempo, but it's back to what I thought against, you know, when we went away to Man City, where, you know, it's lashing down and it's Emre who gets a grip of the game, where if it's almost as though the more of a battle it is, the harder it is, the more he wants in. And the more he produces, he really is. I think these last 5 games that he's played, I think across Man City, Everton, I think I'm making sure I've got these in the right order. Man City, Everton, Bournemouth, sort of Stoke and West Brom. You've been able to see what he's absolutely brilliant at, and it's strange that his weakest performance across the board there is probably the Bournemouth game.
I think our performance in general for Liverpool in general was against Bournemouth, but Emre Can for me is playing like you would want your captain to play at the moment. He's taking the bull by the horns. He's saying, right, leave this bit to me. You know, I'll sort all this out. I'll do all the ugly stuff. My husband's actually got a bit of a nickname for him. He calls him Thumper because he just thinks he does all the ugly stuff. And he does, and he's taken on that role. And the other thing that you can't get away from is just how much he gets about the pitch. You know, he's literally everywhere. And I just have a huge amount of respect for him. I mean, you saw the pictures after the match yesterday, and literally half of the team's like got bandages round everywhere and ice and goodness knows what. And to me, it's clear he puts himself on the line for us, and you've got to take your hat off to somebody like that. You know, there's plenty of other players who, you know, they get the slightest knock, you know, and the kind of like, I won't say making excuses, but, you know, they're more reluctant to put the body on the line for you. And to me, I think it's come across massively. He's going, well, you know, Henderson's not available, Lallana's not available. I have to be available whether or not I've only got one leg or not. And to put in the sort of performances that he's doing when I personally, looking at it, think he's not 100% fit, I think is absolutely staggering.
And the thing that made me dislike Can for such a long period of time was that I thought he was too confident. I thought he thought, I'm going to be Mr. Liverpool, I can be the new Gerrard, I can throw a bit of Yaya Toure in there. And it used to drive me mad when we were in a position where we needed to hold a lead or we needed to get a lead, and he'd do a stupid flick and it would just drive me mad. Whereas yesterday, and the past few weeks, is that confidence that's made him step forward. That he's a young kid. He's been slated all round by a lot of Liverpool fans. He's had quite a few errors that have led to goals, and yet he's kept doing the same stupid stuff, and it's now starting to come off. There was a flick yesterday that did make me think, Emre, what are you doing? But honestly, he's become the most important player of these past few weeks.
You've got to give him a load of credit for his bottle, and also we again probably the same show where we slaughtered Mignolet. I think we spoke about Can, and we were talking about future transfers and the midfield being a priority. And one of the things we were mentioning was that there seemed to be a lack of character, a lack of fight, and a lack of organisation when something's not working on the pitch. And one of the things you can say about Can in the last 6 weeks is that, you know, there's a time yesterday, early first half, Origi should come and get hold of the ball. and he should chest it, and then we play and we get out. First 15 minutes, we're not really playing very well. We're under the cosh a little bit. And he doesn't, he's on his heels and he gets beat to the ball too easy. And it pans away, and on the telly, you just catch Tian as we win the ball back. I think we put it out for a goal kick, or we put it out for a corner or throwing it right on our edge of our box. You just see him turning and bollocking him, saying, what are you, you see him going like that with it hitting his chest. Fucking get you. Nobody else is doing it really. And he sort of took up this mantle with Henderson not being there, of somebody needing to organise other people. I think if you look at what's been said about him, Klopp said it and Tian said it himself, that through the course of the season he's had an issue with his calf and he hasn't felt right. And I think one of the complaints I've had about him is that he's just been a bit ponderous, and he looks like he wants loads of time on the ball, and he doesn't look, when we were discussing whether he was any good at the start of the season, he didn't look like he was able to get around, able to be mobile, able to impose himself on a match. And at the minute, he's everywhere. He's one of our fittest players at the minute. He's all over the pitch, and he's bossing things. And it goes from a couple of months ago. There was discussion around, would you give him a new contract at, there's a reported figure of 70 grand or whatever it was, 100 grand, and a lot of I think I said I wouldn't. And then you look now, 8 weeks later, the run of games he's been on, you think it'd be crazy not to.
Do you think? I was thinking this yesterday for a couple of them, Ben. Do you think it's easier for them if you take what we were doing at the start of the season, and it's glorious footy, you know what I mean? At times it's so fast and it pings around the pitch and the opposition can't live with it. And now it's get the job done footy.
Yeah. And
I think there's a couple of them for whom get the job done footy is easier.
Yeah.
Where, for instance, Emre hasn't got to be part of this well-oiled machine where it's, you've got no time, you've got to make sure, it's got to go to a Liverpool shirt, to playing on a bit of a knife edge, committing a lot of men forward in the process of this. And so then if you do give it away, you do a flick, like Charlotte says, then you can not just look a bit daft, but you can open yourself up to all sorts of stuff happening behind you. Whereas now I think what suits him down to the ground is, well, you can just kick it out for a throw. Yeah. If you almost know what I mean, you can just kick it out for a throw because it's fine, we're going to get our shape, we're going to do this. We're just getting over the line. I'm sort of looking at him thinking, and that's why, for instance, when we are against City, and a lot of it is because of how good they are, it's just hang in there footy. It's just win your battles for a bit footy. I think that really suits him better. I think that's the football he wants to play.
That suits his physique, doesn't it? So it doesn't. And I think there's a couple of things in that. There's a bit of a learning curve for us as a team and the manager as a management group for, how do we get through sets of games? And I think one of the things we've probably learned is that we can't just keep doing what we're doing, because it's at some point you're going to come unstuck. And what we're looking at now is a little tiny bit more pragmatic version of playing the way we were playing, but a little bit more pragmatic. Every now and again, you know what? Just turn them round. It's fine. Just turn them round, get up the pitch, get your shape, and battle and fight. And win your own battles, and don't have to rely so much on the shape being perfect, because you're just a little bit more solid, that you can win your battles and then play when you can play, rather than play at all cost. And I think you're right, it does suit a few of them. And I think one of the things I'd like to see next season is the ability for us to do either. And I think one of the things where we've struggled was when we've tried to battle it maybe earlier in the season, or when we've needed to dig in and earn a result. We haven't really been conditioned to do that, I think is probably fair. And now it looks like there's been a series of, probably since Leicester, where there's been a series of aims around, well, how do we get through these next games?
Do you think that's been on purpose, or do you think that's personnel? We've lost Lallana, Mane, Henderson, and we're left with people like Origi, who's a more traditional centre forward. We're left with people like Lucas playing in our back, and being forced into a bit more of a back three. And I think we've somehow lucked out that the time where we've been left with these players that suit themselves to a more pragmatic approach, we're playing teams like Stoke, West Brom,
but
Palace,
you have to battle anyway.
Where you've got to battle anyway.
I think it's probably a bit of both. I think they've probably looked at it and thought, well, what's our weakness in these games where we keep getting beat by teams on the break, and they've had a look. But I think it also is that we can't do that either. So you've got this need to do this, and hopefully it might just lead to the ability next season to manage when hopefully we've got Champions League footy on a Wednesday and we go away to, wherever.
Burnley, for example, on Saturday morning.
Saturday morning away at Burnley. How do you get through the game? It's always freezing in Burnley, mate. Absolutely freezing. Go there now, be snowing. How do you get through that game? How do you get through it? And we need to learn how to do that. And hopefully we'll see the additions in the summer that will allow us to do that a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think if you asked West Brom what sort of team they would rather have played yesterday, they'd have probably said the one that they were playing against. Because I think that we're seen as, I don't know, soft touch probably isn't the right word, but, you know, the big thing's been made of the fact that we concede from set pieces and the fact that, you know, we struggle against the lesser side sort of things. But I think that if you ask West Brom now which side they'd rather have played, I think you're right. I think they would rather have had somebody like Lallana in midfield who, you know, isn't the most physical of players. All right, he harries around you and, you know, he'll nick the ball off you and one thing and another, but, you know, he's not going to get into an aerial battle with you. And so it's a difficult one, really. I think you're right, Ben. I think next season I'm hoping that we learn from all of this, because let's not forget this is the first full season that Klopp's had. It's the first full season this group of players has had with Klopp and his instruction. And, you know, it's about taking all the different parts of what Klopp's asking you to do and actually gelling it all together. And hopefully next season we'll see within games managing moments, how they're managing games in different scenarios now. You know, there was times yesterday where, you know, potentially we could have broke a little bit better on West Brom, you know, that we could have done a little bit more in attack. So hopefully, you know, it'll be a bit more cohesive, I suppose, next season.
Okay, all very, very interesting stuff. Just want to give a mention to a couple of things. Number one is Paul Johnson was on Who Dares Wins on Saturday night. You can watch it now on iPlayer. Ben Johnson is barely over it.
It was the best Saturday of my life, honestly. It was amazing.
You don't want to give it too much away.
I don't want. You've got to watch it. What you want to do is
it's pre-fingered as well. He's still got his finger.
He's still got his finger, which adds a whole new level of
and you didn't know, but he didn't tell anyone, did he?
He hasn't told anyone that he was going on it, so no one knew. And then 20 minutes before, like, got a text at 5:05 from, or like a group WhatsApp saying you might want to tune into BBC One at 5:30. It might be interesting. And then there he is, there, proud as punch. Five fingers. Proud as anything, wiggling them about all over the gaff. And it's amazing. And who knew? Who knew what such a brilliant programme was on at 5:30?
It's on iPlayer. It's on BBC iPlayer. So
get a groupie and watch it. And ideally, if you know Jono, watch it and then live tweet each other, because it's amazing. We had such a ball, honestly. You couldn't. Some of the stuff was just glorious. He gives an answer to one of the questions, and it's the fella off Strictly, Bruno Tonioli, but the way he says it, he says it as if Bruno Tonioli is saying his own name, and it's amazing. Bruno Tonioli. It's honestly, it's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, it's a big push for it.
It's amazing.
It's on iPlayer.
Get on it.
Get on it. The other thing I want to mention is that we share an office with a company called Laduma / Red Touch Media. They're two linked companies, and they're putting some stuff together for a charity for South Africa this week. What they're asking for, the charity works around asthma awareness and education, and to fight poverty that leads to a lack of education, which in turn leads to causes health problems, and just to help children where and when they can. What they're looking for is warm clothes. The winter's going to be coming in South Africa very soon, and many children cannot focus on school due to simply being too cold. They did school uniforms last time as the last event. They're asking to donate children's sweaters, jackets, hoodies that are either new or lightly worn. If you want to get them to us, I've just realised that the mistake I've made with this process is I haven't actually got the address. So I'll give it a shout out again once I've found them. Email me address. I know where we work. I just know what the postcode is.
Yeah, you know how to get there.
I know how to get there. Yeah,
you go every day.
Yeah, it is. It's Walker House, 6th floor. It's yeah. I know.
It's just in a bit of town there, isn't it? By the town hall.
I know exactly where it is, Jono.
There's a nice monument outside that you probably walk past.
It's lovely. The monument is absolutely lovely. So it is 6th floor Walker House. So if you're marking for Laduma, 6th floor Walker House, exchange flags, Liverpool, L23YL. That's where it is. So it is. If you can anything that you can spare in terms of warm clothes for children, they're going to sort all the shipping costs out. They're going to do all of that sort of stuff. So it's children's sweaters, jackets, or hoodies that are either new or lightly worn, and anything that's sort of that is warming. So if you can sort it out, as I say, they'll sort all the shipping costs out. You've just got to get it to the office. So if you send it at 2. 6th floor, Walker House, Exchange Flags, Liverpool, Merseyside, L2 3YL. And just mark, if you can mark it for our attention, by all means. But if you mark it for Laduma's attention, they'll be sorting all of that out. So
if you don't know where it is, what you could do is bring it to town and then look out for Neil and follow him. He knows where it is.
And I walk around town a lot, so you can find me there. I'll give you the address again. 6th floor, Walker House, Exchange Flags, Liverpool, Merseyside, L2 3YL. Which was the bit? I don't know. I do know where my office is. Though today I've forgotten a lot of things. It was that sort of night because it was such a huge 3 points. This is the thing that we keep coming back to. It's all the thing that matters at this point, Philippa, is the context of United getting the win that they get yesterday. You'd expect Arsenal to get a result away at Middlesbrough, though Middlesbrough are fighting for their lives at the moment. But what this does, I saw Man City at the weekend, and it's now the phase of the season where you're watching everything, you're seeing every game because you want to know how it's going to impact and how it's going to knock on. And what this does, I think, is I thought City looked good at Southampton. I was impressed with them, to be honest with you. But it keeps Liverpool in the driving seat in terms of this thing. They've got the points on the board. They're the ones who are able to look onwards and upwards. They're the ones who haven't got to play a rival or anything like that. We're the ones with 3 home games left rather than just 2. It's all moving about as well as we could hope.
Yeah, I think, after yesterday's result, I think I was looking at Man United and thinking they were probably the main danger for us now in relation to top 4. And I looked at the fixtures, and if they don't drop any points, they've done really, really well there. They've
still got City to play, haven't they?
They've still got City,
Arsenal, Tottenham away.
Yeah.
Tottenham will be right in the shout. So unless they cock up, they're right in the mix
for
the league. And Tottenham look formidable.
Yeah.
They've got games Thursday, so they play Europa League Thursday, and then I think they go to Burnley away.
And that question's going to start coming in their head, whether it's Europa League or League.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Is it? I made the point yesterday, and it was that, okay, they were playing Chelsea yesterday. Chelsea had a couple of knocks before the match because Courtois was out, and then they lost Alonso in the warm-up. Man United, all right, they played in the Europa League in midweek, but it's an awful lot easier to get up for Chelsea at home than it is to get up for Burnley away.
Burnley away is hard.
So I actually think that, the big games, they might be all right. I'm not going to say they're going to win them all, but, they're potentially going to pick up points there. But to me, the ones that they may struggle on is maybe the Burnley away game.
We need to go. We've got no distraction in the FA Cup or anything like that. We need to go next week, Palace at home, and we need to give them a good hiding.
And Alana and Henderson coming back.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be a battle again because Allardyce is horrible, but he's good at what he does. And it's going to be a battle. We need to win. It's as simple as that. And then we need to go wherever we go next. There's a Watford.
Then we go to
away on a
Watford.
Monday night.
Yeah.
And that's a tough game. They look like they're in for.
That's the one I mean. That there's just no way in the world we're winning.
I think it's tough. Troy Deeney's a genius. I really like Troy Deeney a lot. He's massive. We've seen him.
He's huge.
He's massive.
Can't believe how big Chadley was.
Yeah, he's big.
I can't believe. I just, as in your head, he's this sort of tricky, creative footballer. He's like a tank.
Troy Deeney had last year.
Tall or big?
All round, about 6'2" and about that wide as a house.
Troy Deeney had launched him.
Oh, but yeah, that's Troy's stock and trade. That's what he lives for, launching Nasser Chadley. It's on his list. People to lash. No, but it is. Charlotte. It is this. Spurs, you sort of feel now like unless Spurs do collapse, which doesn't look like they're going to do in any way, shape or form, second looks a bridge too far. But the other thing to point out as well is that, it'd be nice to come third here. This is the other thing is get that automatic qualification place, not have to mess about with the qualifier. If we can just keep the Man City wolf from the door week in, week out, then and make them earn it. If they win 6 games, then I've said, well, they won 6 games, and so they finished the points ahead of us, and that's fair enough. That's the way in which this goes. But if we can, if we can just stick to our task here, 3 home games, get them won, and see what we get on the road, I'm sort of the view that should be enough at this stage to get the 4th. But it'd be great to get the 3rd and win all 5.
Yeah, Spurs look like the best team in the league right now. I think they just look formidable. I think City will drop points against United, which is their game in hand. I think if we carry on like we are, I think the big test was West Brom and Stoke because they sort of epitomise everything that we struggle against. And we've got lesser versions or different versions of West Brom and Stoke for the rest of the season now. So I think 3rd is easily attainable. And with players like Henderson, Lallana coming back, we should just push for as many points as we can, but I think 3rd's attainable.
Palace for me is massive. I think if we win that, I think
they haven't got their best defender though.
Yeah, well, this is the other point that I made yesterday, because I was like looking at it and I said, Sakho's been a massive part of their turnaround. Since he's come into the side, they conceded 2 this weekend, but before that they hadn't conceded a single goal from in the back four. And their other centre half was Martin Kelly, I think. So if they're playing Martin Kelly there, then they've obviously got issues.
So Scott got hurt, didn't he?
He played in the 3-1 defeat against Southampton.
Right,
Sakho.
okay.
But no, it's the point. The point is that they've got to chop and change it. They haven't got Scott down. It's going to be a little bit makeshift at the back, and I'm also of the view that in general, and this is what you turn into this week at this stage of the season, Ben, that in general all the other results have sort of gone for us as well. In that Palace can feel as though they picked a point up this weekend because Hull and Swansea both got beat. They're not safe yet. But if you said before that he's brilliant at what he does, Allardyce, and he is brilliant at what he does. But if you are Allardyce, you're looking at Liverpool Palace. You've got Liverpool Palace, then you've got Spurs at home. But then on the Saturday after, you've got Burnley at home.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely fixated on Burnley at home. Burnley at home gets us the 3 points that we need. That should see us through.
The reason he's brilliant at what he does is he's extremely pragmatic, and he doesn't want his players to exert energy where you don't have to. So the first 20 minutes of the Palace game is key. We get 1-0 up.
Yeah.
You've seen him do it before at Anfield, where his team's got 1-0 down. He's like, it's fine. I'll just sit on the bench for an hour and a half. I won't even bother getting up because we're going to get beat 3-4-0. And it's absolutely fine because I'm not asked. Because we'll play next week and we'll win. Or we'll play next week and we'll try it again against Spurs. And if Spurs go 1 up, we'll do it again. Because the week after, we've got Burnley and we won't fucking knock off. Because everyone will be legging it everywhere. So the first half an hour, I think the atmosphere needs to be really good next week. I think the first half an hour is key. I fancy us to win. I really do. I don't see how they're gonna. I mean, obviously they can beat us, but I just don't see how
they're better than us.
How they're better than us. So it take a turn of events for that to happen.
Well, they get the what you've got to watch out for with them, Charlotte, and it's already in this again. It's the stage of the season where as soon as the final whistle goes yesterday, I'm thinking, can we just play Palace now?
Yeah.
Which isn't fair on those lads because they were all on the deck because they were shattered because they'd run so much. But they're battled everything, fought enormous men. But there is Chelsea got 1-0 up. And then Palace get 2 in quick succession and they absolutely sit on it. And that's what you've got to guard against. You've got to just not give them any hope. I think that's something that we've got better and better at. And I think that before, when you were talking about how well we did at times against West Brom, what we did was we didn't give them anything cheap. They didn't get any hope. They didn't get any encouragement. And they have to rouse themselves for the big last 25 minutes. They've got to do it for themselves. We don't give them a hand. And Chelsea gave them a hand when they dropped the points against Palace. They gave them that 2-1. We've just got to be absolutely stay as focused as we were yesterday. Just give them nothing cheap.
Yeah, yesterday's performance was a top 4 side or a top side playing against a smaller team, taking time out of the game, showing moments of quality, battling where they need to. And when you look at the clock, it's all of a sudden 85 minutes and you've won the game. Well, you haven't won at 85. But that's what we need to do next week. We need to take time out of the game like we did. I think someone like honourable mention to Origi, by the way, yesterday. I thought that was a fantastic centre-forward performance. I thought he helped us keep the ball. He helped Firmino a lot. I think even though I prefer Firmino central, I thought he really helped Firmino play. And I think someone like Origi in a game next week will help us because he helps us take time out of the game. He's very, very good at recycling the ball. He's quite careful with the ball. So it's those sort of performances that we need.
He clicks. That's what I saw him do yesterday. Is I thought at first half he was frustrating me, but we're 1-0 up and I don't care at half time. But what I saw second half was suddenly he clicks. He's got this really weird ability to be, if not unplayable, then just genuinely very, very good for 15 minutes. Where it's like he doesn't just go up 1 gear; he goes up about 3.
Yeah, he's a great passer. He's got very, very quick feet, and I think that people have criticised Origi recently, thinking he's not sure if he's got it in terms of mentally. But I thought he was playing quite intelligently yesterday. It's one of those things. That's what I think next week. Our personnel will help us because I'm not sure that Henderson's going to be ready in time. I think we'll probably see Lucas start again if he's got the legs for it. And I think it'll suit us again, like it did with Stoke, like it did with West Brom.
Yeah, expecting. I wondered if we've seen. I think the injury, which comes as late notice, Philippa to Klavan, makes me wonder if we might have seen the last of him this season now. That looking at the games that we've got left, looking at the way Lucas has played in front of a back 4 and turn it into that hybrid back 3 thing, which was interesting yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a bit of both. That he was
really
at times.
flexible.
Yeah.
When we had the ball, he was actually in the furthest player back. He was actually the furthest, he was a defender really, so we were playing kind of like with a back three when we had the ball, and then when we didn't, it kind of went back to a 4 and then Lucas in front of it. I don't think we'll see Klavan again unless there's any sort of like major injuries there at the back. And I wouldn't be surprised if he actually goes in the summer. Because I'm not sure that he's good enough to be able to step in if he's needed at any point next season. I think that he doesn't really trust him, and I think that's maybe where the 5 at the back came in, because he wasn't too sure about whether or not he could trust Klavan in a 2, and maybe he didn't think that Lovren and Matic was maybe fit enough to play in a 2. Yesterday it was kind of forced upon him, and I think that Lucas is just playing so well. You can't really drop him at the moment, so why would you? I
think the only thing about Lucas is he hurt his knee late in the first half, I think, and you see him walking off the telly, turning to Firmino, and he was like, and then after in the pictures on the telly after he's got ice on his knee. So you wouldn't be surprised. That's not the type of thing that goes away. You wouldn't think if he's done a little niggle on it, unless it's a historic thing. It was his knee that blew up at Chelsea, I think. So it might just be a bit of pain, but I wouldn't be surprised. Lovren and Matip are fit. They're not getting rested. They're not getting dropped for the rest of the season. So the only option then is, well, do you fancy dogging it with a 3 or not? I don't really see. If we didn't do it, I was surprised we didn't do it yesterday. I thought we probably...
The hybrid was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was interesting.
First time he's done anything like that.
Yeah, it was interesting.
But it worked.
It did work, and I thought we were really good. The BBC made, on the analysis last night, made a couple of really good points about how we attacked set pieces and how we got out. We've done lots of doubling up. Emre Can winning lots of headers at fullback and stuff like that, where they're trying to exploit your fullbacks. Emre Can.
Well, they swap whenever they swap. So when they brought Rondon on, he went straight away to play off the left for them, and you just saw that basically Can and Wijnaldum just swapped sides. Yeah. And Can went, I'm going to stand on his toes. Yeah. And straight away it was like, oh, so they've took Robson Cano off. They're doing this now. Sound, I'm going to go stand over there.
Yeah, I'm going to win the headers for the fullbacks, and there was loads of that. And it was really clever. And you see they really worked on it, and that's dead pleasing. In loads of ways, because it looks like you know one of the things you could say about us early in the season was we looked a little bit like we had an arrogance about us that we could never get beat because we were always going to win, and there was never really a look at the opposition, or there didn't seem to be a look at the opposition's strengths and how that could impact on your ability to play. But yesterday was a lot more pragmatic. It's like, okay, well we know they're going to try and exploit Klein and Milner in the air. So we'll just combat that by putting our centre mids on them. They can win it.
I think Klopp was scarred by West Brom in one of his first ever games. I remember how incredulous he was when he came out of that game, and he just said, "I've never ever seen a team play like that in my life." Like, it was like his proper welcome to English football, and I think he was probably fully had that in the back of his mind when he prepared for this game. They said that all week that was what they were practicing to defend set pieces, defend corners. West Brom got the most goals from set pieces in the league, so I think it was really, really pleasing to see how well they defended against that.
On the what you see thing, I was actually mentioning it on the pre-match shows, Philippa, on this in terms of the learning curve that managers go through. Klopp, who was speaking the week before, and he was absolutely incredulous at what West Brom do. He'd never seen anything like it in his life, and he was made up to get the win off the back of it, but he just couldn't believe how direct they played, how much they break your rhythm up. It does show that for all the game is theoretically the same wherever you go. I mean, whilst I'm pretty sure that in Germany and France they've got some pretty direct teams, there is an intensity to what these sides that we do have to deal with do to you that I think does take some getting used to for some managers.
Definitely, and I think another thing that we maybe don't go on about as much is the crowds over here. They can be really hostile, and
they love appealing for stuff. The West Brom crowd.
They love appealing for stuff, and
that's all they've got going for them. though. That's what it's basically it's boiled down. Their footy now. Pulis is such a genius that it boils down to a load of 50-50 decisions as to whether things are fouls or not, and then the last 10 minutes in the corner, and that's their whole enjoyment of the game. It's like basketball. Go to a basketball match, they sit there for ages, and then they wait for the last 10 minutes, and then everyone gets dead excited and sings because they know someone's going to win in 10 minutes. And what happens before really doesn't fucking matter. And that's West Brom, and it's mad. It's weird. He's a maverick, Pulis. He is. If he was an animal, they'd cut him up and see how he was built.
Well, we're not endorsing that message.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is that, but he would, because he's like he's Darwinism in itself.
All right then, Darwinism in itself. Might be the title for the show in the end of this one. Thank you very much to Philippa, to Charlotte, and to Ben for coming in on this Easter Monday and having a big chat to us about the Reds, getting an enormous 3 points. This is the Anfield Wrap. If you want to listen to more shows, going to be speaking to Sean Rogers about this one later in the week, where we are going to cut it up metaphorically and go through exactly how direct everything was about this game and looking ahead to others as well. It's theanfieldwrap.com/subscribe. If you want to subscribe to the Anfield Wrap, there's loads of fantastic stuff on there, and you can still access all the old interviews and all of that sort of stuff as well. If you've been thinking about it for a while, now would be a great time. Looking forward to the summer and everything that's got going for us. Up these battling Reds.